hit the, okay, there we go. Equals X. All right, so Guinan circle. 7 to the X equals 1. Okay, and 7 to the what is 1? 0, right. And you can write X equals 0 right here, but I'm going to write 7 to the X equals 7 to the 0 so that I can make them the same base. Cancel, cancel, X equals 0. Okay, so what do you guys think the answer is going to be whenever the number here is 1? 0 every time, and it doesn't matter what the base is. Okay, equals X, Guinan circle. That's not a very good Guinan circle. It needs to go all the way over to the 7. 7 to the X equals 1 over 49. Okay, I'm going to do this in 2 steps. 7 to the X equals 1 over 7 squared. And then I'm going to move it upstairs. 7 to the X equals 7 to the negative 2. How are you guys doing with that? Better? Okay. Cancel out the 7s. X equals negative 2. Yes, honey. You can do that for all of these, except that when they're same base exponentials, you're supposed to do it that method. But you can do that. It'll work every time. So number 8, I'm definitely going to log both sides. But do you see the difference between number 8 and, like, say, number 6? Yeah. Just so when they're able to be same bases, you're supposed to same base then. But in the software, it's called exponentials not requiring logarithms and exponentials requiring logarithms. So it's like same thing, but two different. Anyway. Okay. So slide your packet off to the side, please. So while you're writing this, and I love you but moment. You guys know what an I love you but moment is? Did I explain it? No. Okay, so everyone in my family is extremely sensitive. And I think that they got this from me. And in my house, if you have a criticism of someone, you need to say, I love you but first. It's soften the blow. Okay, do you remember doing problem number 11 in the homework? Because when I stamped it, it looked like a bunch of you guys just copied off the homework help. I love you, but you should probably have asked me for that one. Do you know the one I'm talking about? It was the one where you find the exponential between 2 points. Yeah. And the reason that I think it was copied is because a lot of people did the system method. And the only people that ever learned the system method were people who took Math 1 in 8th grade with Mr. Jones. So, I know. So, I figured that probably didn't actually happen for most people. But we're going to fix that today. I'm going to remind you how to do it like our usual way. You guys are all like, I did not copy off the homework help. Just have it. Crazy talk you have just accused me of. So, such crazy accusations. How could you? Okay, number 31. Due date. Brad's mother has just learned that she is pregnant. Oh, yay, Brad's mother. Brad is very excited that he will soon become a big brother. However, he wants to know when his new sibling will arrive and decides to do some research. On the internet, he finds the following article. What? It's high school. They can handle this topic. Okay. This is actually real. Hormone levels for pregnant women. When a woman becomes pregnant, the hormone HCG, okay, human chorionic gonadotropin, is produced to enable the baby to develop. That's actually the thing that pregnancy tests test for is HCG. During the first few weeks of pregnancy, the level of HCG hormone grows exponentially, starting with the day the embryo is implanted in the womb. However, the rate of growth varies with each pregnancy. Therefore, doctors cannot use just a single test to determine how long a woman has been pregnant. They must test the levels over time. Commonly, the HCG levels are measured 2 days apart to look for this rate of growth. Brad's mother said she was tested for HCG during her last 2 doctor visits. On March 21st, her HCG level was 200 milli-international units per milliliter. 2 days later, her HCG level was 392 milli-international units per milliliter. Yeah, I don't have the whole nursing degree over here, just math. Assuming the model for HCG levels is in the form y equals AB to the x, write an equation that models the growth of HCG for Brad's mother's pregnancy. Okay. So this is the thing where I'm going to remind you of how we usually do this. And we're going to do this with a table. My first piece of advice for you guys is when you have a word problem that has time, like it gave us a date, don't put the date in the table, just call that day 0. So whatever that first day is, call that day 0. And her levels were 200. What was it again? International, something milliliter. Okay. And then just make a little note here that that's March 21st. And then it said 2 days later, her levels were 392 multi-international units per milliliter. It told us that it was y equals AB to the x. So what I need to do is figure out how many B's does it take to get from 200 to 392. How many B's does it take? 2. So 200 B squared equals 392. 200 times B divide square root. B is 1.4. Does anybody know what A is in this problem? Nice. A is 200, which is the y-intercept or the start. So my final answer is y equals 200 times 1.4 to the x. Okay, did that clear that up for you? How to find the exponential between 2 points? Excellente. Okay, now B. Most women maintain an HCG level of 5 multi-international units per milliliter before becoming pregnant. Assuming that Brad's mother's level of HCG on the day of implantation was 5 multi-international units per milliliter, on which day did the embryo most likely become implanted? How many days after implantation was his mother's first doctor visit? Man, I feel like this is kind of TMI, but that's okay. All right. Brad probably doesn't really want to know this. It's just that CPM wants you to utilize your logs and exponentials in an actual thing that's exponential. But okay, so just so that we can get over this awkwardness quickly, is 5 an X or a Y? So look at your table. What kind of things were X's and what kind of things were Y's? It's a Y, right? Okay, because these were days and these were multi-liter something liter. Okay, so what we're going to do is take the 5. I cracked myself up. We're going to take the 5 and we're going to plug it in for Y in our equation here. Kind of feel like this question is trying to like encourage people to do the math in the medical field, you know. But anyway, okay. Now this is now become a squirrel stuck in the tree problem. Okay, but we can't hit it with the log yet because the 200. So we have to divide by 200 first before we can hit it with the log. I know you had one of these in your home. What is going on with my calculator? I know you had one of these in the homework where you had to divide by 2 first. Do you remember? Excellent. Okay, so now I have a squirrel stuck in the tree problem. And what do I do when I have a squirrel stuck in the tree? Yep. Hit it with a log on both sides. Log 0.025 equals log. Okay, what's next? Yep. Use the power property. Move the X in front. And that allows us to solve for X using division. Okay, now we're talking about days. So we're going to say that it's about negative 11 days. Okay, so what day was 11 days before his doctor's appointment? March 10th. So first doctor. Oh, wait, let me rephrase my question. What day was 11 days before her first doctor's appointment? Yes, March 10th. Okay, and just out of sheer not wanting to do it, we're not going to do C. I mean, if you could write this, please. Yeah, I can't with that problem anymore. It's like, I understand, find an application for logs, but I feel like they could have done earthquakes or pH. They didn't have to do that. It's cool though. It's cool. We're mature. You guys are mature. I still sleep with stuffed animals, so. Only one? I thought you were gonna cuddle Danny. No, okay. They're such a lovely group. I walked through the quad to get through here and I was like, they're all taller than me still. This is awful. Usually I walk into schools and say, I work here. Stop showing me. Do you sit in Anthony George's seat? Yeah. Who? Anthony. Right, buddy? Yeah. You're in my seat. Yeah. I had my kid in my own class years ago and I sat in that seat. Yeah. Are you going to bother Mr. Sedans? Yes. Okay. I love you. I'll see you in a minute. Okay. Okay. And possibly Mr. Baker. Okay. Yeah. One of these days I'm gonna say I'm gonna go bother a teacher and you're gonna say, oh, I'm not here anymore. I'm gonna cry. I'll let you know before that. Okay. Okay. Oh, and coin. Okay, but don't leave me too long. I won't. Okay. Except the stairs might get me. I know. I wasn't ready, emotionally prepared. I forgot. Should have sat in the car for an extra 5 minutes. I love you. Taking my phone. I'm not using it in class. No, I am. Oh, Cole's texting in class. Okay. All right, you guys. Um, so the thing I just cleared up, remember the B thing, exponential B thing? I was talking about the system method that people learned in 8th grade from Mr. Jones. And I'm going to show you that in the first part of number 32. And you can decide if you like that or if you like the table method better. So I don't love the system method, I gotta be honest. I think it's fancy and sophisticated, but I don't like it. But I'm gonna show you both methods and then you get to choose which one you like better. And you have to decide and you have to tell me which one you like better. It's required. Okay. First, you need to know what equation we're working with. And the difference between, sorry, this is really my fault. It's my fault. The difference between the problem we just did with Brad's situation and this is that I've told you the asymptote is at 10 this time. So that means this whole graph is shifted up 10 units. It was not shifted for Brad's because it was just AB to the X. And now I've added a plus K. How do you know to add a plus K? Because it told you the asymptote was at 10. So that means it's up 10. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my red pen, X, Y, X, Y, and I'm going to label that K because that's where the asymptote is. And I'm going to set up two equations because it's a system method. So you're going to set up a system of equations. So my first one is going to be 12.5 equals A, B to the third plus 10. Okay, so make sure you understand where all that stuff came from. The 12.5 went in the Y spot. The 3 went in the X spot and the K is 10. So I just did this coordinate. Okay, now I'm going to do this coordinate. 11.25 equals A, B to the fourth plus 10. Anyone confused? Want to ask me what happened? You okay? You sure? Okay, now minus 10 from both sides. Okay, now you want to start with the higher exponent. You want to divide them. So I'm going to take this and put it on top. I'm putting it on top because it has the higher exponent. So I said start with higher exponent. That goes on top. And the other one goes on the bottom. Okay, now the a's cancel. B to the fourth divided by B to the third is just B. And 1.25 divided by 2.5 is 0.5. 0.5 equals B. Uh-huh. Correct. Okay, now let's pretend this was a 2. Maya, just for grins, you would do 4 minus 2, and this would be B squared, and then you'd have to square root both sides to get B. Okay, so now we're going to plug the B. I'm going to plug it into this one. You could plug it into either one of these two, but I'm going to plug it into this one to get A. 2.5 equals A. 0.5 cubed. 2.5 equals A times 0.125. Is 20. My final answer is y equals 20 times 0.5 to the x plus 10. Okay, what are your emotional feelings about this process? You do? You do? That's why we have two options. Okay, so now we're going to do the exact same problem again with the table method. Does anybody need more time to write? Okay, let me know when you're done, honey. Okay. This particular problem itself,
Or no, like the rest of
this is took me the whole page. So but I'm still probably gonna you're probably still gonna have a half an hour to work on homework, even with this. No, there's 4 homework problems. Okay. After you guys write this, can you make sure that you all have a calculator out? You're gonna need a calculator for the whole rest of the lesson. Yeah, honey. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be boring. I really don't. I haven't been sleeping that great. It's like cold when I go to bed, and then for some reason in the middle of the night, I wake up all hot and I can't go back to sleep. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Um, okay. So when you do the table method, the rule is you have to have a spot for each of your coordinates and you have to have a spot for zero. Okay, so my coordinates were 3 and 4, and then I backtracked my table back to 0. Okay, so example again, same one. When you have an asymptote that's not 0, what you need to do is undo the asymptote to both coordinates. So what I suggest is put yourself a little note here that says shift up 10. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that by shifting both of these down 10. Now that should not freak you out because when we did the system method, we subtracted 10 from both sides immediately. So we're just subtracting 10 from both sides. So you're just taking those y values and shifting them the opposite. Okay, and then I'm going to put those new values in the table. So not the original values they gave me, but my new values after I undid the shift. Okay, so let's say the asymptote was at -5. What would I do? Add 5. Okay, just checking. Okay, how many B's does it take to get from this spot to this spot? 1. So 2.5 times some B is 1.25. Divide. And look how quickly I got B. Now to get A is this number right here. I need to divide by B to go back up the table. So when you go down the table, you multiply. When you go back up the table, you divide. So 2.5 divided by 0.5 is 5. And then you can sort of see it's doubling backwards. And final answer. It's so much less work. But if you love the system method, by all means. I think that the requirement is if you're going to do the system method, though, you need to put your pinky out while you're doing it because you're fancy. But those of us who like to be lazy do the table method. Okay. Real quick before we move on from this, does everyone know how to fourth and fifth root on the calculator? Because what if I gave you 0 and 4? That would be 4 spots apart, and this would be b to the fourth. Can you guys all get your calculator out? Yeah. Okay, so the square root is second x squared. It's right above the x squared right there. So you go second x squared to get this regular square root, but every other root is in the math menu. So where everything else in our lives is located, just hit the math button. The cube root is right here. And then any other type of root that you want is in number 5. And then you can tell it what I just typed that in randomly, but you can tell it whatever root you want. Does that make sense? So any other root that you need is located in the math button. Just scroll down to 5 and then you can pick what type of root you want. Okay, now we can be done with that, but we're not done with the calculator. We're going on to number 33, last one, but it's not short, so don't get excited. covering up parts of it because I want to focus on certain parts. Also because I screwed up and wrote example 3 twice, and it should be 4 and 5, and I just numbered them wrong because I'm special. I don't even know what's happening. Okay, so you can be honest with me. You can tell me an I love you, but moment too. You can say, Mrs. Talbot, I love you, but expanding and condensing logarithms seems completely pointless. Okay. And you might not. Unfortunately, if you go to college, you're gonna learn a lot of things that you're not ever gonna use. For example, I was the only white person in the Black Cinematic Traditions class. Yeah, see, what happened was, I got down to my very last quarter, and I had to do the ethnic studies requirement, and there was only one class that would fit in my schedule, and it was Black Cinematic Traditions. And every single day, and they're all ethnic studies majors, they were super into it, and they're super cool people. But every day I would come in with my notebook and be like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and sit down, and we'd watch Gone with the Wind, and I just wanted to kill myself. I'm sorry, and I would just like put my hoodie up and just like run to my car to be like, I can't believe this is happening. It was a whole semester, but they were so, in the class, were so cool. They actually invited me to like a movie night, and I did, and it was really cool. It was a great experience, but like, there's like, when you go there to the college, you have to take a lot of things that are, you just gotta take what fits in your. I went to Cal State Hayward, but it's East Bay now. Anyway, it was a great experience, right? Like, I learned a lot, but I was just, oh my gosh. There was a whole chapter on like blackface. Anyway, it was the most uncomfortable semester. But you should be proud. I did it and I passed and I learned a lot and I made some friends, and anyway, it was cool. They actually thought I was pretty brave for doing it. Hello. Hmm. Yeah. Is he gonna come back? I'm in the middle of notes. Okay, thank you. Yes, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah. Okay. So in the middle of that story, I came up with the worst possible squirrel in the tree problem I could find. I scrolled through CUDA to find the worst case scenario so that you would be prepared. And I want you to think of it like you're solving this. So I took out the 5 to the 5 minus 4r and replaced it with x. Does that make sense? What? No? Okay. Okay, and the reason I did that was because you want to take the class I took, don't you? It was cool. Yeah, it was good. Okay. What? Yeah, ethnic studies, yeah. Okay. So if this was my math problem, what would I do first? Subtract 6. Okay. So minus 6, minus 6. Okay, now if I was doing this problem, what would I do next? Mm-hmm. Okay, and now I've gotten it down to a base, exponent, and answer, and now I can get the squirrel out of the tree. So perfect. Okay, now this time when I bring the exponent in front, I'm going to put it in parentheses to just kind of protect it from the rest of the problem. Okay, now I need you guys to get that calculator back out. Okay, so do log 7 divided by log 5. Okay, this is my recommendation. Round on your paper, but don't round in the calculator. Round on your paper, don't round in the calculator. Okay, what I mean by that is just keep it going in the calculator. So we're too lazy to write the whole thing over here. So I rounded to 4 decimals as I always do. But now I'm going to minus 5 from both sides. Just do minus 5. See what I mean? Then just hit divide -4. Let the decimal run. That's worst case scenario, squirrel in the tree. As bad as that will ever get. Guys, this is not going to be short. It's not going to be. Just mentally prepared. Just be annoyed with me if you want. I can handle it. I believe someone's already in the bathroom. Sure, I wouldn't, but you could. No, it's no, oh, I was, yeah, I think around, not now.
Never mind, not now.
Are you wanting? Everything's fine.
No, that's the problem. I don't have anything to do. That's why I was going to use.
You don't what?
Never mind. I'm curious if you have food.
I don't have food. I don't have any food. Okay, you guys ready? No? Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, so while you're writing though, I do want to say there was a point to expanding and condensing logs, and that is to be able to solve equations. I wasn't just showing you that for like grins and giggles. The reason is because you need to know how to solve logs and you need to know how to expand and condense to be able to solve logs. I promise you, I know that felt pointless, but there is a point. Okay, now here's the bad news of the day. Log equations have extraneous solutions. I know. Okay, so we have to check them, but we check them in the calculator. It's not really a big deal. I'll show you how. So first thing you do is you look at the operation that is being performed in that particular log equation. This one is plus. Okay, when you add exponents, what operation is it really? Multiplication. So log base 9 x plus 9 times 10 equals 1. Okay, so plus is times. You're like you feel like you're in a parallel dimension. Okay. Now, distribute Does that make sense so far? Okay, now line and circle. Does this make sense right here? 9 to the 1 is 9. 9 minus 90 is negative 81. Hello? Okay, okay. So what? That's the end, except for we have to plug it in and check our answer. So that's what I wanted you guys to practice on the calculator. Grab your calculator, go math, log base 9, and then plug the negative 8.1 in there. You guys know how to get to that? Math, scroll to log base. So I'm taking the answer, plugging it back into the original problem. Okay, and what do I want it to equal if it's correct? 1, right? Because yeah. Does it equal 1? Yes. Okay, so what we do is we box the answer. Does it make sense to everybody why we wanted it to be 1? Because the equation equaled 1. Okay, all right, moving on to number 3. Yeah, exactly. We're going to do one with a 2 right now. Okay, so step 1. Subtraction is division. Log base 2 x plus 10 over 6 equals 2. Guidance circle. 2 squared equals x plus 10 over 6. Okay, now what I like to do from here is I'll take the side with the 2 squared and put it over 1 and cross multiply. So 1 times x plus 10 is x plus 10. And this is 6 times 4, which is 24. You guys all see where the 24 came from? Minus 10, x equals 14. These really aren't that bad. Okay, so math, log base 2, 14 plus 10 minus log base 2 of 6. And you want that to be 2 because my equation equals 2. It's going to downpour any second. Oh. Okay, you guys, this is the end. What? They were talking about dark times. You can put it. You can put it. No, me?
When they do like the little cheers and they're like, think it's LeBron and shit, and it just does not, it doesn't sound, it doesn't come off the tongue right. And like, who calls me LeBron? Like, I mean, well, most, that's not, like, I'm trying to have them say Ronnie, and I'm like, it's just like, too, like.
Did you hear the
Yeah, I don't even know that. I don't know.
I like your name.
I like my name too. Yeah, they said last year, it's kind of good.
When I told my stepson about your name, he said he wanted to know if you were named after Kobe and LeBron mixed together. But that's cool. Jace. And at the time, like I didn't know you as well, and I was like, he does play basketball. Maybe. No. Okay, you guys ready? Do you write them? Okay. You were worried about your chant. Oh. After these two is it, I promise. I actually saved the best for last, I think. No. Well, this one, well, never mind. Okay. Anyway. Okay, guys, let's just finish it up so we can be done. Okay. First question. What operation is this? Division. Great job. Okay, log 7 over x minus 1 equals log 23. What's wrong? Oh, I like this one because there's no base on the log. I'm just that lazy. Okay, now this is why I saved the best for last. This one you've condensed it. So you condense these two logs down to one log. And now there's a log on both sides and they cancel. Mhm. Okay, and then when you get to this spot, put the 23 over 1 and cross multiply. Okay, now on the other one, I found the decimal because it came out nice. This decimal is terrible. So I'm going to leave it 30 over 23. And I'm going to plug in. I'm going to show you guys you can actually plug 30 over 23 in for x. So log 7 minus log 30 over 23 minus 1. Okay, now if I hit enter, I got this. But what do I want it to equal? So I have to also do the other side, log 23, and make sure that they match. And they do match. So now you're starting to think that I'm a liar, and you're like, Mrs. Talbot, there's not actually extraneous solutions to these. You're just telling us that to make us check our solutions. No, I promise you there are extraneous solutions waiting for the last problem. Okay, last one of the day. Which operation is this? Multiplication. Okay, now this is another one that's satisfying. There's logs on both sides, so I don't have to do the guided circle. I can just cancel them out. I saved this till second though, because I didn't want you to think that you could just always cancel them out willy-nilly. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, so just write this parentheses part underneath, right? We have to check them, yes. Is that what you mean? Okay, this is actually the last thing I wanted you to do today, which is check these. I want you to check both answers separately, and something's going to happen in the calculator. So.
Two without putting in the log, the very first problem, the log 7.
Yeah. The error. Mhm. Yeah. So that means that that one's extraneous. You can cancel, you can cross it out. Something's going to happen. It's going to be exciting. Not really. So Kelly and I could not figure out boards. Which one? How?
Me.
Okay, so you got the error. Yeah. Yes, okay, so if you guys get the error on the calculator, that means it's extraneous. So this one does not work, and then if you check the 3, it does work. So error on the calculator means it's extraneous. And the reason is because you can't log a negative, but I don't want you to think that like, oh, I got a negative answer, it's not gonna work. It might work if you plug it back in and it makes it positive for swearing or absolute value or something like that. So you actually have to plug them in, but you can just plug them in the calculator. Now I am done. Oh, no, I'm not. I have a joke for you. Yeah. No more math, just a joke.
I get a picture of the notes.
Yes, I'm good. You're bored. What do you do after? And then you do the other side. It's the thing.
Thank you.
Guys, homework is 35, 37, 40, 41. And here's my joke. It says, I had a hen that could count her own eggs. She was a mathematician. Oh. Oh. Yeah.